Hello, this is Sir Shroomy here, recording my first ever video. This video will just be a little introduction about who I am, and while I also talk about the characters that I'm making and how I'm designing them. Sorry if the audio is a bit rubbish, I am recording this on my phone because I don't have a microphone. First character is going to be based off of a rosy maple moth. And while that's playing in the background, I'll tell you a little bit about me and what my channel's going to be. So like I said, I'm So Shroomy, and I'm going to be doing a mainly art-based channel right here. The upload schedule probably won't be very accurate or anything. I do have ADHD and I tend to forget things quite a lot, but I hope you enjoy. I'm 16, so this isn't going to be the most professional thing, and I know my voice can be a little bit hard to understand sometimes, but I can't really do much to help that, sorry. With the rosy maple moth, I noticed a lot of people taking a more cutesy vibe with it, and I wanted to try something different, so I went with a more posh vibe, because I thought that the very fluffy look of the rosy maple moth kind of reminded me of those fancy see-through cardigans you'll see rich people wear in media and stuff. And you can tell she's very fancy because of the dress and the pearls and the heels and stuff. You can tell this is quite an old drawing, so it's not going to be the best. And I'm not very good at digital art, which I think you can tell based on the fact that this was taken from a doodle in my biology book. But yeah, her name's Rosie May, and she's got curly hair and fluffy details to her character to kind of represent how fluffy the rosy maple moth is and stuff. And she's still quite a cute character, but not to the extent of other people. Next up is the comet moth, which is well known for its extremely long tails. I started making all of these moths because a wee while ago I got really interested in moths, and also I found it easier to focus in class if I had something to do with my hands, like doodling. So yeah, I've done that. I wanted to try find a way to incorporate her really long tails, and I wanted to my first thought was to make her very sporty, but I wanted to keep her quite feminine. I've noticed a lot of times when people make sporty female characters, they completely take away all their femininity. So I decided to make her a cheerleader, since I thought it would be cool if I made her super long tails into pigtails. You can see here me copying all of the colors and putting them on the character. And she's got a very circular design, since you'll see lots of circles and spots on the comet moth, and I've given her acne to further the spots and stuff on her character. She's winking because I thought it would be fun if she had like a very up and go attitude. And she's got a funky little tooth because I actually have a little spiky tooth like that. I'm not quite sure what's up with that. But yeah, this is Connie. Next up, we have who was originally my favourite before I made Pepper. Pepper is now my favourite. But here is an old favourite of mine, Lola. The problem with Lola, though, is she is quite an old design. And you can tell she's an old design because see that little triangular nose of hers? That was me trying to draw a big nose. And as you can tell, it's not a very big nose at all. It's quite small, actually. I've tried to give her a bit of a hippie look, but I doodled this in class, so I didn't have any reference pictures. So sorry if she's not perfect. I tried to give her a bit of a tie-dye looking t-shirt with long bangles and like a thick beaded necklace, which is supposed to represent phases of the moon and stuff. So I had to remember the word for that. And she's got a big chunky belt, and she's also got quite a circular design because lunar moths also have the little circular bits. Her hair buns are meant to represent the moth's antennae, and that's just about everything. She was definitely one of my favourite characters when I first made her. She's also got her little bracelets that represent the tails of the lunar moth, if you can see the pink bracelets, yeah. Now here comes the favourite child of the moth gang, Pepper. Pepper is meant to be a peppered moth, which is one of my favorite moths purely because of how interesting they are in science. Peppered moths originally, an unmutated peppered moth is meant to be white with little brown spots because it means they blend in really well with birch trees. However, in the Industrial Revolution, obviously there was lots of smoke and soot and stuff all over the place, which turned all of the pale birch trees black. And when all of the pale birch trees became black, the pale spotted peppered moths became a lot more visible and got killed a lot quicker. But the mutated moths, the one that came out completely brown instead of pale, actually blended in a lot better, which means those brown moths survived a lot better, and it meant that they got to reproduce a lot more, which is why they're so well known in the science community for their brilliant display of mutation. I've made Pepper a bit of an emo here. I really like how she looks with the leggings and the mini skirt. And I really wanted to display a half and half look to represent the half of the peppered moths that are their original selves and the half of the peppered moths that are mutated. And I'm really happy with how she's come out. And as you can tell, she's a much newer character. I've also got her smoking. Don't smoke at home, kids. But it's because it's supposed to represent the smoke in the Industrial Revolution that caused the peppered moths to become so mutated. The smoke didn't mutate the peppered moths, but their survival in the smoke did. That's an important distinction. But yeah. Next up, we have good old Granny Anne, who's supposed to represent an Arctic woolly bear moth. I've made Anne really, really old because a really interesting fact about the Arctic woolly bear moth is that they are actually the oldest living moths in the world. An Arctic woolly bear moth can live for up to 7 years in the wild, which is absolutely crazy for a moth because most moths have very, very short lifespans. And in captivity, the longest Arctic woolly bear moth that's ever lived was 13 years old when it died. And for that reason, I've made Anne very, very old. I've also given her a shawl since they're Arctic woolly bear moths. So I've given her a nice warm shawl to keep her warm. And she's got very curly hair with 2 particular curls there to look like the antennae of a moth. I like Arctic woolly bear moths a ton. They're really, really interesting moths, and I know they don't look the most exciting like lunar moths or comet moths, but they deserve their own bit of love just for how fascinating they are, you know? Last up, we have Honey, who is based off of a hummingbird hawk moth. Hummingbird hawk moths are actually quite interesting. They're not my favourite moths in the world because I don't find them very interesting, but I absolutely adore how they look. They look really weird, almost as if they shouldn't be able to fly at all. I'm not quite sure how they got the label of moth. But when I was drawing this, I was trying to figure out how to draw this, and when it was in my sketchbook, I kind of hated it because all I could think of was how it looked like a small child trying to dress up like her mum. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I could make this look like a small child who's trying to dress up like her mum. She's got big glasses on because hummingbird hawk moths have giant, really freaky looking eyes, and she's also got a little feeding tube coming out of her nose because hummingbird hawk moths have very, very long, very recognizable little snouts, tubes, something. Her crown's meant to be the antennae of a moth, and she's also got she's also got a very fluffy scarf on, since hummingbird hawk moths have very fluffy necks and stuff. I'm very pleased with how she's turned out, and I love the style I've done of it. I only wish I'd kept the skirt a little bit longer like I had in the original picture, because I feel like it would have looked a lot more like a small girl dressing up like her mum if I'd kept it longer, but I can't really go back and change it now, I don't think. But yeah, this is our little Honey right here. So I hope that was an alright first video. I'm sorry for my stuttering. I'm already not a brilliant talker, and talking into a microphone is even more nerve-wracking. So tell me in the comments if you think I should change anything, make anything better. But I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.